Welcome to another episode of Readers and Writers. Today, I hope to accomplish several important topics. Connecting more easily and effectively with everyone you encounter is the first topic. Using your words more effectively, whether you are speaking or writing, and discovering the technique of nonviolent communication. My guest today is Dr. Melanie Sears, author and coach. Dr. Sears has written 3 books and published 2. She is also working on a fiction book. Her 2 published books are about nonviolent communication. Welcome, Melanie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Glad to. Your books and the concept of nonviolent communication, NVC for short, contain a wealth of information and wisdom that can be used in various settings, from intimate relationships to global politics, as well as with the severely mentally ill. That's impressive. What inspired you to study nonviolent communication and publish your books?
Well, it was a long journey, but after I had my 2 kids, I decided I didn't want to raise my kids the way that I was raised, because I had totally lost connection with my parents and I wanted to stay connected to my kids. So I looked around and I took parenting classes and read about 100 parenting books, and they were helpful, but I needed something deeper, something that really got into my programming and the conditioning. So I actually stumbled across nonviolent communication, and I was hooked right from the beginning because it was just so much fun to do. It was really connecting, and I just learned a whole lot every time I went to one of those classes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, why is it called nonviolent communication? That seems kind of like an unusual way to describe talking to one another.
Well, the process was created by Dr. Marshall Rosenberg probably around 40 or 50 years ago by now, and he vacillated about the name. He talked to me once about it. He goes, I don't know if that's really the right name, but it had already been known as nonviolent communication. And he said that the way that we talk is really violent in a lot of ways, because we speak in terms of judgments and blame and criticism, these outward-based communications that can really trigger pain in other people. So we don't realize that our language is really violent. Mm-hmm. And most people, when they hear nonviolent communication, they go, I'm not violent, and their language is very, very violent.
Yes, yes. And so the Nonviolent Communication Organization is called CNVC,
yeah,
right?
Center for Nonviolent Communication.
Center.
Yeah, .org.
And people can take classes there, I assume?
Well, you look for a trainer in your area, or so many trainers do it online now since COVID happened. Mm-hmm. So there are many trainers to choose from all over the world.
Very neat.
And it's a worldwide organization, so we have trainers, in Russia, and we have trainers in the Ukraine, and in Israel, and a lot of places that are really fraught with conflict. And, I think they just do a lot of good in helping create a foundation of peace.
Yes, I can imagine. I can imagine that to be the case. And I believe along those lines, to introduce our audience to the idea of nonviolent communication, we have 2 more guests. Is that correct?
Yes, would you like to meet them?
Yes, I would. We have Giraffe and Jackal.
So we use the giraffe puppet sometimes when training. Whoops, that's this guy. Because the giraffes have one of the largest hearts of any land animals, and they're tall so they can see far in the distance.
Which would mean that they can have like a broader perspective of what's going on.
Yeah, so they can see what's in the distance before they open their mouths. Mm-hmm. And a curious fact about a giraffe is their tongue can take a thorn and remove the hard exterior to get to the soft interior. And that's what we do with language with giraffe. When somebody comes at us with harsh language, we can pay attention and put our attention on the heart of the jackal. Mm. Where is their soft interior underneath that harsh language? So the jackal is the language that we're programmed to speak. It's the language of blame, criticism, judgments, analysis, many, many things. So we're actually born as giraffes, but we get socialized out of it and we learn to speak jackal. And this is what causes most of the problems in the world, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. And we're just about to do a little role play with Jackal and Giraffe. And I think Jackal is going to play the part of a friend. I'll give you the scenario here. We have two friends that talk regularly on the phone. Friend number one, Jackal, usually is busy washing dishes, running errands, or on the treadmill when the two friends talk. Friend number one, Giraffe, thinks this is disrespectful. Now, how do we use NVC to resolve this issue?
Well, if friend number one thinks this is disrespectful, that's the first step to tell you he's not in giraffe consciousness, because disrespectful is a judgment. And it's an analysis of what this jackal is doing wrong. So as long as you have that kind of language in your consciousness, it's going to be very hard for you to connect compassionately. So let's pretend that he's really a giraffe, and the giraffe says, you know, when I call you and you're washing the dishes, I feel frustrated because I really want to connect with you. How do you feel when you hear me say that? Oh, you know, you're different than me. You know, you and I, we have our differences. We always come clashing about these things. You could actually play this role better than me.
Okay, well, let's do it.
You probably know how to play the jackal.
Yeah, I do.
Because it's your jackal friend.
My inner jackal. Here we go. What's wrong?
So, hello. It's really nice to talk to you again. But when I hear the dishes in the background, I feel a little distracted.
Well, you know, I just like to do a lot of things.
You like to get a lot of things done.
Yes, I do. That makes me feel good.
You feel a little overwhelmed with everything on your plate. You want to kind of multitask.
Well, I'm always ahead of it. I'm working hard to just stay on top of my task. I have a to-do list, and I just check things off, and I feel great.
So that's really comforting for you to get your to-do list all checked off by the end of the day.
Yes.
Yes, I hear that, and I suspected that's what was going on. But when I talk to you, it's really precious to me, and I really want to be able to connect with you. And when I hear the dishes clanging in the background, I just wonder if you're giving me the attention that I want from you. How do you feel when you hear me say that?
I feel a little sad. Yeah, did you want me to feel sad?
Well, that wasn't my intention. I just want you to hear what's going on with me. And I'd like you to hear it's about me, it's not about you.
Oh, well, that's really helpful.
Oh.
Yes, because now I can feel closer to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
Can I give you a hug?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Aww.
It doesn't always work that fast.
No. But Mel and I had a wonderful time yesterday playing with the puppets, so I thought it would be fun to introduce you to them as well. So it doesn't usually work this fast. However, that is a very important goal to set for yourself in your relationships with people. Giraffe essentially came from a state of humility, curiosity, and loosened up about his need to control in order to truly understand Jackal. Once Jackal was understood, he was able to reach out more genuinely to Giraffe. Giraffe sought to understand before seeking to be understood.
That is a very primary concept in nonviolent communication. And it's actually what people need. Many people need empathy, and they need a lot of empathy before they can hear you. So by giving empathy, I mean you really enter into another person's world, like walk a mile in their shoes, you know, the old saying. And you learn skills with nonviolent communication. It's one thing I do as a trainer. I teach skills in how to listen. Because oftentimes our listening is not not helpful. Oftentimes what we do is we collude instead of listening. So you'll say, my boss is a jerk. And then instead of really listening, I don't want to use a giraffe puppet to say that, I'll just say, so you think your boss is a jerk. And that's colluding instead of giving empathy.
Got it.
So that will actually close down communication in a certain extent. I mean, some jackals really like collusion, but it's not really helpful in helping the person grow, and it's not helpful in expanding the conversation.
Yes.
So
yes.
as a giraffe, I would say, so are you feeling discouraged about your work conditions and you want more recognition from your boss? Yeah, that's right. You know, he never says good job, and he'll continue to speak because this language will open up communications with people.
Yes, so it is about getting to the emotions and the needs of the person rather than just reflecting back what you heard.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's to understand the feelings and needs underneath the words. And underneath this language, what we're programmed to speak, it's essential that we learn to do that in order to humanize this person. So when this person is sprouting off and angry and calling people an idiot, and we can sit there and judge them, and then we just enter into the same game.
The jackal game.
Yeah, the jackal game. And then it becomes a jackal contest.
Yes.
So if one of us is able to put on our giraffe ears, which I do have to have.
Oh, that's great.
So I'll put on my giraffe ears, and the jackal will be able to jackal all he wants, and I won't be able to really hear the words. I'll be paying attention to his heart. What's he really communicating? So if he says, everybody's an idiot, I can say, Jackal, are you feeling really frustrated and you'd like people to slow down and have some consideration? This is what I'd say with my giraffe ears on. And if everybody could get that kind of language spoken to them, the world would be a more peaceful place.
Yes, yes. Well, how do you, though, I mean, sometimes in interactions where I want to be the giraffe, what happens is I find that my insides are kind of going, I call it the inner Hulk. Now, I don't let the inner Hulk out, but it's still hard to access my empathic self.
So your first step, see, you can use these tools a couple ways, but your first step might be to put the ears on backwards. And when you put them on like that, you pay attention to yourself.
Oh, neat.
So you give yourself empathy. So when where you become the big green Hulk, what are you feeling? What are you needing in that moment?
Yes. Okay, that makes sense.
Maybe you're feeling angry. So you're just kind of give yourself empathy. God, I'm feeling so angry right now. No one's doing what I need them to do. I'm on a deadline. I need to get things done. I want people to pay attention. No one has ever paid attention to me. Just listen to what's going on in your head and in your heart. And give yourself some empathy first, understand what's going on in your head, and then say, gosh, I'm just feeling really overwhelmed right now. I've fallen down into my heart, and then my needs are kind of more in the stomach area, and I go, I really need some empathy right now. So noticing when you need empathy is really important because you want to be able to be intelligent in how you get your needs met. And if you don't know what your needs are, you won't be able to do that.
Yes.
So when you need empathy, and most people don't know they need empathy, so instead they just start sprouting off to whoever's nearby, and lo and behold, they don't get their need met.
Yes. Yes.
But if they're smart about it and they go, God, I really need some empathy, I'm going to call Dianne and ask her to hear my feelings and help me through this.
Yes, so what you are also saying is that I wouldn't seek empathy necessarily from the person who's upsetting me.
Well, you probably wouldn't get your need met if you did.
Yes.
I mean, you can do it, but you would have to orchestrate the empathy, and you'd probably have to give that other person empathy first before they were able to hear you. Like if he's judging you, he's in a lot of pain.
Yes.
So you're an idiot, Dianne. So if I'm saying, well, I really need some empathy right now, would you tell me what I'm feeling? Hell no, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But I might say, oh, well, it sounds like you're frustrated because you want some understanding for what's going on with you. I might give him a little empathy first. That's empathy. I connected with his feelings and the needs. And then after he's gotten enough empathy, you know he's gotten enough empathy because his eyes kind of glaze over and he kind of relaxes.
Yes, settles down.
Yeah, so then you can try to give him a little bit of honesty. You know, I'm just really tired of this back and forth between us. I want some understanding. What do you hear me say? So I've just orchestrated my empathy. Tell me what you heard me say.
Yes.
And he'll say, you're saying I did it wrong. See, he didn't hear. He didn't hear. And you'll say, well, thanks for telling me what you heard. I want you to hear it again.
Wow, you're very good at this. Did you see my mouth moving? Do you know what my words mean? No, I just...
So that's orchestrating empathy. They're just many, many tools that the giraffe can teach us.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Yeah, and I just imagine in having read the books that you lent me that there is just a depth of information here that we cannot possibly tell you about it in this show.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
can we show the books?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So this is the book that Marshall Rosenberg wrote, Nonviolent Communication. I wrote a dialogue in this book, and this book has sold millions of copies and is translated into many languages. And after a while, after me studying nonviolent communication, I just really immersed myself into it because it was so interesting to me. I wrote a book called Humanizing Healthcare, and I wrote this book because I was a nurse. And I wanted to apply the principles of nonviolence with what was going on in the psychiatric unit that I was working in. So this is just full of stories and real stories because I figured, you know, everything's been written out there except for my personal experiences. So I wanted to write some stories, and it makes it an easy, fun read.
It is a great read. I enjoyed that book immensely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And then the other book I wrote is called Choose Your Words, and it's like a workbook.
Yeah, and that's a good one too, for sure. Now, one of the things we also talked about was using prompts, a list of feelings, body sensations, needs. Could you say more about that?
I usually give people who are taking my class a list of feeling words because we don't develop a good feeling vocabulary in this culture and in many cultures. So we tend not to know feeling words, and that's how it's important to know feeling words in order to express yourself fully. You know, so instead of expressing yourself like a tin drum, you express yourself like an orchestra. So feelings are real important. And they're also important because they lead you to the needs. See, we're taught that other people cause our feelings. It's one of the jackal things. And it's not true. Other people don't cause our feelings. Our feelings are caused by a couple things. One is they're caused by our thinking, and another thing that causes them is our human needs. And all human needs all over the world are the same. So once we understand what our human feelings are and human needs, we can communicate with anyone as long as we speak their language.
Yes, that's a very good point. And it leads into what's important for writers. Because beginning writers' characters are frequently boring and one-dimensional. And it comes down to the characters' how and why to build a richer character. So having an understanding and conveying the character's beliefs, personal history, and needs, and also emotions, is the how the character got to what you're seeing in the scene. And then the why is determines the character's actions and choices. So this whole confluence within them, their history, their beliefs, their emotions, their needs, then causes them to act in a certain way. So when you, as a writer, include these factors into your character, you make your character more accessible and interesting to the reader. So additionally, seeking to uncover the how and the why can make you a better listener and better friend.
And a better writer.
Yes, that's right, and a better writer.
Because many writers make kind of stock characters, and because they don't really understand what the feelings and needs of that character are, what motivates them to take the action. You see the characters taking action, but you don't get the full picture of their humanity. And that's what connects us with the book we're reading, is the humanity, what's similar in us, what's similar in that character, and those are my favorite books, the ones that I can really relate to.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what it does. You have a rich character and you can easily relate. And kind of as another hint, some writers may actually build the entire history of their character before they write or while they're writing the book, not necessarily to use the history within the book, but to help them have a rich character when they write the character in the scenes. So speaking of writing, we have, I want to just tell you first of all that we have a list of all those prompts on the Publishing Club website, courtesy of Dr. Melanie. But anyway, we're going to jump to a piece of written material by Melanie. Now, Melanie and I share a history of working with the severely mentally ill. And to show the results of NVC with a patient that she's worked with in the psychiatric ward, Melanie will read an excerpt from her book. Okay, so this is after Melanie has been using nonviolent communication with this patient for about how long?
It was just one shift that I worked with her.
Oh, wow, just one. That's great.
It doesn't take long. Yeah. So I'm going to read you an excerpt from this book, Humanizing Healthcare. And so this was one day I went to work. The only way I got through that job was I'd go to work to get a good story to put into my book. So this was one of the stories. One evening, upon arriving for work, I walked past a too common scene in the hallway. A nurse was standing in the hallway outside a patient's door, yelling the repeated demand, "Go sit on your bed." Meanwhile, the patient was banging on the other side of the door and insisting that she wanted to come out. The situation appeared to be locked in a classic stalemate born of unmet control needs. I looked in the small cell-like window and said, "Hi, Mary, go sit on your bed. I want to come in and talk with you." When Mary saw me, her face lit up and she ran over and sat on her bed. The nurse standing at the door said, "That's amazing. How did you do that?" I had no magic potion, no pills or tricks. However, I had worked with the patient the week before, and using the tools of NVC, Nonviolent Communication, had created a nurturing connection with her. The patient was not willing to submit to the demands of a staff member with whom she did not feel a connection, yet she cooperated willingly when treated with respect and compassion. Empathy is one of the simplest yet most potent human technologies on the planet. It is a low-cost, high-yield solution that everyone can use. Most of all, it is nothing you need to add to your systems. It is already part of who you are as a human being. It is your birthright. If only you can create organizations that support you in using your humanity as a tool for connection and healing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that is so true. And I find so many people here at Laguna Woods are very good at creating a nurturing environment.
Yes.
And so that is one reason why I love being here.
Yes. It's a lovely village.
It is. So to kind of summarize some other points, we are born loving and open to all our experiences, believe it or not. But quickly, we learn to sort the good from the bad. And this process of discernment has a survival value, but it also blunts our ability to perceive without bias, creating a system of beliefs and expectations that aren't always true or useful. So many times, again, we are inundated with fake news. And in that environment, people form beliefs that they function under. And those beliefs then can cause hardship between people. And nonviolent communication is a way to understand other people's needs and values, even if they differ from your own. It helps people express themselves authentically and honestly, listen with empathy, and deal with conflict responsibly. Agreed?
Agreed. And I just wanted to tell you, I think it's a little funny story. A friend of mine goes to these demonstrations where they have differing points of view, fighting each other, and he sets up an empathy tent.
Ooh.
So it's like a tent, and it says empathy tent on it. And he brings people in from the different sides of the conflict, and he sits them down in the empathy tent, and he helps them listen to the other person so they can hear both sides.
Wow.
So it's a very powerful tool for resolving conflict, and would really help our political environment if everybody could sit down and listen to the other person's point of view.
Yeah, go into that tent.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Well, you may contact Dr. Melanie Sears at her email, and that is awakegiraffe@gmail.com. And remember, the most important person to connect to compassionately is yourself. And that's it for today. Be sure to look for us on Mondays at 4:30. Mondays at 10:30 and Thursdays at 4:30 every week of every month. Thank you to the Publishing Club who support this program, and have a wonderful day.